Welcome back to my channel. My name's Rod Clark, former Australian Masters track athlete, previous coach to an Australian Olympic athlete, and just a guy with an interest in sports performance and all things health and fitness. In this video, I just wanted to do an update on the gear that I used for my recent Leadville 50 mountain bike race. As a novice mountain bike rider, I was pretty concerned about the gear that I was going to use and my food to get me through that ride. Never having to prepare for a race like this before, it was kind of a little bit daunting about using the right equipment to get me through and not failing with food and water. So first of all, I wanted to actually sort out the water on the bike. I only used one water bottle on the actual bike, and I went with a Patagonia 5-litre waste bag. I'd actually used a backpack in a previous ride about 2 weeks prior on a really warm day in Vail, Colorado, where I live, and I found the backpack was just so warm against my back. It's got a 2-litre or maybe even a 3-litre bladder inside it, and it was obviously beneficial just having that bladder and being able to suck down water anytime I wanted. But I did find the backpack overall just so hot on my back, and I perspired so much that I wanted to find an alternative solution. I did end up purchasing a Patagonia waste bag. I hadn't used it prior to the race, so it wasn't tried and tested, but this particular bag worked perfectly. I was able to put all my food in there, a spare tube, lightweight jacket or a lightweight vest, and just carry all the stuff I need for a 3 or 4 hour ride up in the mountain. From a food point of view, I started off in the morning with oats, and I added a scoop of protein powder to the oats. I was conscious about getting enough protein in, and I also had a slice of toast with avocado. I sipped on 12 ounces of coffee on the way to the race. I'm about 45 minutes away from Leadville, so that was kind of perfect, just getting there in the morning. And this was all consumed, quite early in the morning, so probably about 2 hours before the race. I got that food into my system. As far as food goes for the event, I basically used Honey Stinger energy chews. They have 32 milligrams of caffeine, apparently from white tea. I also used the Honey Stinger Performance Chews. They have 75 milligrams of caffeine. I was a little concerned about using the caffeine chews as I hadn't actually used them a lot previously, and I didn't want to end up with any sort of gut issues during the race. So just be aware of that. If you're trying something different, then I would definitely try and use that prior to any racing or any major event that you're going on. From a hydration point of view, I went with the Element hydration sachets. I had one in a water bottle. Actually, I think I had one in both water bottles before I started. I also have Liquid IV, which is a hydration sachet as well. So a combination of those two. I'm actually really enjoying the Element hydration sachets. I think they've got approximately 1,000 milligrams of sodium and potassium. At the halfway point for some luncheon to get me back, I basically had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with me, and I had a goo waffle, which both those combined were just perfect. The goo waffle also has a little bit of caffeine in it and some sodium. So those two things for lunch just really revived me and got me going again. And I made sure I drank, about 1 bottle of water per hour. I didn't use any gels. I did have a couple of spare goo gels in my Patagonia waste bag. Again, just be aware if you're starting, if you're doing an event for the first time like I was and you haven't done a long distance event before, and it was a first event for me, and the fact that it took me just on 7 hours, I needed to actually really get that food intake right. So but overall that worked out pretty well for me. I was pretty happy with my food strategy, and I probably wouldn't change too much in the future. The Patagonia waste bag does take 2 water bottles. I may carry 2 and 1 on the bike next time. However, it may get a little bit bouncy on your back. I'm just not sure about that. From a gear point of view, I wear little Giro long finger gloves. I prefer a long finger glove personally. They're really lightweight and really thin, and I've had them for quite some time, so they were perfect for the race. As far as shoes go, I wore a Shimano XC5 mountain bike shoe. Fantastic shoe. I've had it for a couple of months and really enjoying this shoe. It's relatively lightweight, obviously not as lightweight as some of the the carbon shoes, but it's definitely lightweight. It's reasonably well priced, and it also has very open tread on the bottom, so walking over rough rocks and so forth I found quite easy, and you're not getting rocks or stones stuck in that tread. The only thing I'd recommend is potentially walking those shoes a little bit more. I didn't realise I was going to have to walk so much in my shoes on the day, so I did find that I did get a blister on the back of my heel, and that was actually quite painful by the end of the race. I did use a Garmin bike computer. Again, I wasn't that familiar with the computer. I'd only had it a few days, maybe even a day before I ordered the computer. I just normally ride with a Garmin watch, which tracks my riding. I wanted to use the Garmin computer because it does have a climbing feature. Unfortunately, that just during the race, I didn't actually spend a lot of time looking at that climbing feature. It was good to track the distance, so I knew when the turnaround time or the halfway point was. I think that was actually quite beneficial to me, just being able to see the distance very clearly on the computer in front of me. It's a tiny little computer, the Garmin 130 Plus, and I must admit I'm looking forward to using the climbing function as I start to do some more climbing on the mountain here. I also wore a heart rate monitor. I had been using my Garmin watch, Garmin Instinct. I have to monitor my heart rate. I don't find it that accurate, the heart rate, and I have read other online reviews that the heart rate monitors on watches isn't that accurate the way it actually reads through your blood vessels, I believe. So I did wear a heart rate monitor. Definitely, I think by looking at the two comparisons at the moment and having a ride the other day with the heart rate monitor and using my watch at the same time, they appear to be about 10 beats per minute out. The watch is actually showing 10 minutes per beat less than the heart rate chest strap that I wore on the day. So that's pretty much it. It's a fairly simple overview. Overall, I was pretty happy with my preparation of the gear that I used. Nothing failed. Overall, I think that my selection of gear was good and it all worked, as expected. I would actually potentially use a second water bottle, but outside of that, everything was great. So I also rode a Giant Anthem cross-country bike. I intend to do a review on that bike at some point in time as well. Other than that, that was about it for the gear that I used. It got me through the race, and yeah, hope you have a great day. Bye for now.